Chapter 1. The Quiet House. The old yellow house on Windmere Road always looked peaceful from the outside. It had a small iron gate, a narrow garden full of white lilies, and a front porch with a wooden chair that creaked in the wind. People who walked by usually said, "What a calm home this must be." But inside the house, calmness had disappeared months ago. Rose, a gentle 32-year-old woman with soft brown hair and thoughtful eyes, once filled the home with laughter. She loved gardening, reading mystery novels and baking cinnamon buns every Sunday morning. Her husband, Jude, was the opposite, quiet, serious, a man who rarely smiled. He worked as an accountant, kept everything organized, and hated surprises. Their marriage had once been beautiful, but slowly, things had changed. Jude had become more withdrawn, more suspicious, and more controlling. Rose, who once moved freely like the wind, started feeling like a bird living inside a locked cage. She rarely went out. She stopped meeting friends. Her family hardly heard from her. The neighbors noticed the change, too. Mrs. Callahan, who lived next door, whispered to her daughter one morning, "Something is wrong in that house. Rose looks tired, scared even." But no one could imagine the tragedy that would unfold only a few months later. No one could imagine that Rose would be found dead. And no one could imagine that Jude would be the one to call the police, sounding like the most heartbroken husband in the world. But before we reach that night, we must go back to the beginning. Back to the first sign that something was not right. Chapter 2. The First Crack. It started with a phone call. One rainy evening, Rose was chopping vegetables in the kitchen when Jude came home earlier than usual. His face was tight, his eyes darker than normal. "Who called you?" he asked before even removing his shoes. Rose looked confused. "No one. I didn't get any call." "That's a lie," Jude snapped. "I called 3 times and your phone was busy." Rose froze. Her phone had been charging in the bedroom. It had probably glitched and shown a busy signal. She tried to explain, but Jude didn't want explanations. He wanted control. "I don't like secrets," he said, standing very close to her. Rose stepped back, her hands shaking slightly. Jude's anger disappeared as quickly as it had come, but something inside Rose cracked that night. She felt a strange fear she had never felt before. Over the next few weeks, Jude's behavior became worse. He checked her phone. He asked where she had gone, even when she had only stepped outside to water the plants. He grew jealous, suspicious, unpredictable. And Rose began writing in her journal again. A thin blue notebook she hid behind her gardening tools. In it, she wrote, "Jude is changing. I don't feel safe anymore. I need help, but who can I trust?" She thought of leaving him, but she was afraid of what he might do. Chapter 3. A Stranger in the Yard. One morning, while tending to her lilies, Rose noticed someone standing across the street. A man she had never seen before. He wore a brown coat, a cap, and held a camera. At first, she thought he was a photographer interested in the flowers. But then he pointed the camera at the house. At her. She quickly went inside and locked the door. When Jude came home that evening, she told him what happened. He didn't take it seriously. "Probably some idiot taking pictures," he said. "Forget it." But the next day, the man was there again, and the day after that. Rose stopped going outside altogether. She didn't tell Jude anymore. She felt like he wasn't listening. The house, once her safe place, now felt like a prison surrounded by unseen eyes. In her blue notebook, she wrote, "I think someone is watching me. I don't know why, I don't know what they want. I'm scared." But she didn't know that this stranger would soon become the key to everything. Chapter 4. The Night Before. On the night before Rose died, the house was strangely quiet. Jude sat in the living room reading financial reports. The ticking clock echoed loudly. Rose made 2 cups of tea, one for her, one for him. He didn't drink it. She set the cup next to him anyway. You worked all day. You need it. He looked up at her. His eyes were softer than usual. Thank you. They shared a quiet moment, one that reminded Rose of better times. For a second, she wondered if things could become normal again. Then Jude spoke. Rose, I know you've been keeping something from me. Her heart dropped. Well, what do you mean? I found your journal. Rose felt the blood drain from her face. You read it, she whispered. I did. He didn't shout. He didn't look angry. But something worse shone in his eyes, a calm, cold certainty. I'm your husband. You don't keep secrets from me. Rose's hands trembled. I was scared to talk to you. You've been acting different. Oh, so now you're scared of me? No, Jude, He stood up, cutting her off. His voice was low, emotionless. You think I'm the problem. You think I'm the danger. Rose backed away slowly. I didn't mean... Let's stop this conversation, Jude said. Go to bed. She obeyed because she was frightened. Later that night, as Jude slept, Rose wrote one last page in her journal. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. Chapter 5. The death of Rose. At 4:17 a.m., the police received a call. A man crying, shouting, panicked, My wife fell down the stairs, please help me. Officers arrived within minutes. Rose lay at the bottom of the staircase, her head bleeding, her neck twisted unnaturally. Jude was kneeling beside her, sobbing into his hands. The paramedics tried to revive her, but it was too late. Rose was gone. Jude cried loudly, held her hand, shouted her name over and over again. It seemed like real grief. It sounded like real heartbreak. Detective Mara Ellison, a calm woman with sharp eyes, observed him closely. And she noticed something strange. Jude had scratches on his arms, deep ones, and there were no signs that Rose had slipped. The staircase was clean, dry, perfectly safe. Something felt wrong. Chapter 6. The investigation begins. Detective Mara and her team searched the house. In the bedroom, they found Rose's journal. In the garden shed, they found the blue notebook. Mara read every word carefully. The fear, the suspicion, the stranger watching her, the fights with Jude, the final page. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. That sentence changed everything. Jude became the primary suspect, but they needed proof. Mara interviewed neighbors. Mrs. Callahan said, I heard shouting last night, around midnight. A teenage boy across the street said, I saw a man with a camera days ago. Weird guy. A shop owner said, Jude bought gloves, bleach, and rope last week. The evidence grew, heavy and dark, but the biggest twist was still waiting. Chapter 7. The man with the camera. The man in the brown coat was found 2 days later. His name was Daniel Cross, a private investigator. Detective Mara questioned him. Why were you watching Rose and Jude? Daniel sighed. Rose hired me. Mara's eyebrows rose. She hired you. For what? Daniel pulled out his notebook. To gather evidence of emotional abuse. She wanted to leave Jude safely. She said she was scared of him. Mara felt a chill. Did you speak to her recently? She asked. Daniel nodded. She called me the evening before she died. Said she wanted to meet the next morning to finalize everything. But she died before that meeting. Daniel looked shocked. You're saying Rose is dead? He had no idea. Mara studied his face carefully. He wasn't lying. So, she said slowly, Rose knew she was in danger. Daniel whispered, She said she felt like the walls were listening, like Jude knew her thoughts. And then he said something that changed the investigation completely. She told me Jude kept a secret room in the basement. Chapter 8. The Secret Room. The police searched Jude's basement again. Behind a shelf of boxes, they found a narrow door painted the same color as the wall, almost invisible. Inside the room, a table, a chair, soundproof padding on the walls, a small voice recorder, photographs of Rose taken from hidden cameras. Detective Mara felt sick. Jude had been monitoring Rose, watching her every move. Then she played the audio recording on the table. Jude's voice, cold, sharp, angry. "Who are you talking to? Why are you writing in that book again? Do you want to leave me?" Rose's trembling voice answered, "I'm tired, Jude. Please, stop. I can't live like this." The recording ended with Rose crying. Mara knew then. This was no accident. Chapter 9. Jude's version. Jude was brought in for questioning. He looked exhausted, shaking, pale. Mara sat across from him. "Jude, the evidence is growing. Tell me the truth." He rubbed his temples. "It was an accident. Rose slipped. I tried to save her." "You fought earlier that night?" "No, we just talked." "You spied on her?" "I was protecting her." "You kept her trapped." "I loved her." Mara leaned forward. "Then tell me why she wrote that she feared you." Jude's eyes filled with tears. She misunderstood. I was trying to help her. She was anxious about everything. She was imagining threats. "Then why the secret room?" Mara asked quietly. "For her safety," Jude whispered. "To watch over her." "To control her," Mara corrected. He said nothing. Then Mara showed him one last piece of evidence. A broken fingernail found under Rose's skin. DNA matched Jude. Jude stared at the photograph. His face collapsed. He whispered, "I didn't mean to kill her." Chapter 10. What really happened? On the final night, after reading Rose's journal, Jude snapped. He confronted her. She tried to leave the room. He grabbed her arm. She scratched him, trying to escape. In the struggle, she ran toward the stairs. He pulled her back, but she lost her balance. She fell. He didn't push her intentionally, but he didn't try to save her either. He stood at the top of the stairs for 3 long seconds, watching her fall lifelessly. And in those 3 seconds, Rose died. Later, he staged the scene to look like an accident. But he couldn't hide the truth. Chapter 11. Justice for Rose. Jude was arrested for manslaughter and unlawful imprisonment. Daniel, the private investigator, gave all his evidence. Rose's family cried in the courtroom when the judge read the final verdict. Detective Mara closed the file after months of careful work. The house on Windmere Road was sold, the lilies overgrown, the windows dark. But Rose's story lived on. Her courage, her attempt to escape, her final words in the blue notebook. Chapter 12. The last page of the notebook. When Rose's sister collected her belongings, she found the journal. On the last page, below Rose's final sentence, there was something written in shaky handwriting. Not Rose's handwriting, but Jude's. A single sentence. "I'm sorry, Rose. I couldn't bear losing you." It was too late for apologies, but it revealed everything. He didn't kill her because he hated her. He killed her because he couldn't control her. He couldn't accept that she wanted freedom. And so, Rose's story became a reminder. Love without freedom is not love. It is a cage. And every cage eventually breaks.